Today is day 3 of our workshop series. It's our last training. And if you've missed any, check your email. I'm going to send out recordings of all 3 together in one email so you can binge watch. They will be live through the end of the month, at what point I will probably be taking them down because I don't leave them up on the interwebs forever. So get it while it's good. Today is all about how to be more decisive. Because what I find, so many of us, even high achieving, high performing, high octane, big job kind of gals, sometimes suffer this dissonance of trying to make good decisions, make fast decisions, and feel like we're confident when we make decisions. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to give you a sales job on why I think you should be more decisive, why we want to be more decisive, why we want to make decisions more rapidly. And then I have a dozen reasons or a dozen ways to be more decisive. But then as I looked at the notes, I added on a few more and a few more. So now it's currently at 17 ways to be more decisive. So we're going to get right into it with a lot of tactical tools. And as I go, what I'm going to challenge you to do, fair listener, is maybe take notes of the ones where you're like, oh, that one resonates for me. I need that one. And in this way, I feel like this training takes hold in more than one way. You will be, on one hand, listening and ingesting the information in that way. But in another way, when you document what you're going to take home, it lands the lesson in another modality. I think it helps us sort of integrate what we're really trying to do. All right, so let's just jump on in. I'm going to start with the 4 ways that the reasons why you want to be more decisive. And hey, if you're not on mute, you might want to try that. I don't know if I have the power to mute you, just so that there's no background noise. So here's like, why would you want to be more decisive in the first place? If you feel like this is not necessarily something that you value, maybe you were already sold on that concept, but there are 4 big reasons that I think we want to be more decisive. The first is to save time. When we're deciding, what we're really doing is prolonging a process. We're not in action. When you're deciding, I'm using air quotes, you're perseverating. You're not deciding. It's sort of an error of the word. You're considering, you are weighing, you are thinking. So be fair about what it is. Deciding happens in an instant. When you make a decision, it's always in an instant. It may have taken you days, weeks, or overnight to get there, but it does take time if you're considering, and it's not being in action. My suggestion is that we want to be women of action. We don't want to dither. We don't want to leave things open-ended. That type of behavior is like opening a funnel for more things to have to flow through. And it has us revisiting, rethinking, retreading, and using up mental bandwidth, being in that limbo of perseverating or considering or thinking. It's an energetic drain. So when you have these open loops that are not decided and closed, it's like you've got all these buckets that are out in the yard and you're trying to collect all the water rather than just funneling them in and deciding where they're going to go and making it clear. So that's my first sales job. You want to save time. Number 2, we want to be action oriented. We want to live action oriented. We want to get on with forward motion. I like the unfortunate image of the squirrel trying to cross the road where it's like, am I crossing? Am I not? Am I crossing? Am I not? Yes, no, back, forth, and you get nowhere and you waste energy. There are a reason why our eyes are in the front of our head. We go forward. We're not made to go back and forth. So we want to find courage to make a call. I believe a life well lived is one in action. Right? Am I selling you on this? Number 3, we want to expand our growth. When we take action, when we move, when we take decisive action, when we use life as a lab, as our sort of motto, when we see life as an experiment, we make our choices mean less. It's not a huge deal. It's not like a do or die thing. It's just a great experiment. If you can see yourself as always trying new things, always testing to see what happens, and then just deciding again from that place, if you could see it as trial and error, explore and play, you give yourself more space to explore your own growth. So we want to actually open up, not having these choice points be so highly wrought and worried over, and not narrowing, but expanding. And when we make a lot of decisions, we can keep living in that experimental space. And then the fourth reason, and perhaps the most confident reason, is when you start making decisions faster, you enhance your confidence. You are actually demonstrating to yourself, I'm not confused. It's not that I don't know what to do. I'm not stopping myself because I'm not sure. I'm not infusing myself with self-doubt. I can have a lack of clarity, a lack of certainty, but I'm still moving forward. When I hear clients tell me like, I just don't know, I'm not sure, I'm thinking about it, I don't know what to do, and they have that sort of air of self-doubt or quandary, they're actually infecting their subconscious with these thoughts that they're not good enough to figure it out. They're kind of underscoring that doubt and feeding themselves more disempowered thoughts. Does that make sense? When you make decisions and learn how to have your own back, you grow confidence. You start to feel like this is just how I roll. It's like when you're a new driver and you constantly are doubting, like, should I be in this lane? Am I too far over? Do I do this right? Should I put the blinker on now or later? Like when you're brand new at something, you perseverate all the time. But as you get more comfortable, you're just deciding even unconsciously. You're driving down the road, making adjustments all the time, not thinking it's a big deal. You're a confident driver. You know how to drive. This demonstration only works if indeed you are a confident driver. Okay. All right. So now we're going to dive straight in to all the ways that you can practice being more confident. So my first, and follow along here, I think there's 17. Number one, if you feel like you have difficulty deciding, my first lesson would be decide what the elements are that you need to decide. So let's say you're overwhelmed with a big decision and you don't know what to do. Parse it out. Don't just feel like it's like a whole dumpster load of information that you have to sift and sort through, just boom. Think about it. What different things are they? So sort of parse out, is it about time? Is it about money? Is it about your desire? Is it about the value? Is it about other choices, competing interests? Is it about other people? Is it about circumstances? And list all of those things by topic, what you need to consider to be able to make the decision. This helps you make it broken into smaller bite-sized pieces rather than have it just be this massive glacier that you need to approach. And then you can start answering what you can. You might be able to see it more clearly. And when you do that, you might actually then see there's only one or two really confounding pieces that maybe your brain went straight to short circuit into pop. I just can't figure it out. It's too much. But maybe there's one or two things that are really the most concerning, and you can just address those. If you just think those through, would it be easier? Okay, so that's the first one, is what if you break it into the elements of what it is that you're trying to decide? The second way you can be more decisive is just shorten the deliberation time. I'm going to give you lots of examples here. Jeff Bezos, as we all know, the founder and CEO of Amazon, believes that you should decide as soon as you have about 70% of the factors and the information necessary to make a good decision. He does not wait for more data, more information, more agreement. He knows that he wants to make as many decisions as he can every day, and he's not afraid of a mistake. He realizes you just keep deciding. You give yourself permission to decide again on top of your last decision. He knows that you can't wait to make a decision if you're really in growth mindset. If you're really building a multi-billion-dollar company, it wastes time and energy. So I like to say, be the CEO of your life. Be your own big boss. Your only resource is time. So make your decisions quickly so that you save it. Number 3, know and like your reasons. Let's say you have 2 choices to make. Should I stay or should I go? And maybe you like both of them. That's why it's hard for you to choose one. You might like both choices, but you're going to just need to decide to go with one and then fully commit to it. This is also maybe sort of bastardizing or borrowing from one of Jeff Bezos' mantras, which is disagree and commit. Have you heard that? This is the idea that people get into a room, and even if they don't believe that the decision on the table is the right one, if that is the decision being made, everyone decides, I will give my full attention and my participation to succeed in that decision, even if I disagree. So you can do that too. You can agree with both decisions, but just commit to one and say, that's the one I'm choosing. I'm going to like it. I'm going to feel good about it, and I'm going to commit to it. And I'm not going to start worrying about what I didn't choose. I'm moving forward. So that's know and like your reasons. Number 4, I might be calling you out a little bit. Don't lie to yourself. I'm going to tell you some little lies that we tell ourselves. Okay. We have these lies, these socially acceptable and conditioned phrases that circulate that say, well, I don't want to make a rash decision. And I think that's kind of a lie. The decision, remember, is made in a moment. What is a rash decision? I don't want to make a hasty decision. I like to sleep on my decisions. It's like we have these stories about how we want to be responsible, rational, mature, but they're really sort of like excuses that protect us from the risk we feel when we make a decision. So you don't really need to sleep on it or take time or sit around with it. Sometimes that's just a lie. Sometimes you're just avoiding the pain of facing a decision, the decision point. You're just pushing it down the line. Remember, every decision is made in an instant. So if you're just taking a really, really, really long time to choose, that doesn't mean that you're not being rash. It means that you're taking a really, really long time to choose. So what I would suggest is consider the factors that are in front of you and move forward. Notice if you're making excuses for the discomfort of not having certainty, and you're sort of like holding back and being in inaction because it feels safer, because it's uncomfortable. And that's something we've been talking about, right? Challenging your brain that wants to stay safe and small and not risk. Are you liking these? Okay, so I think that in some ways, thinking on it or obsessing about your choice or flip-flopping, going between yes and no, or staying in indecision is like being in a swirling eddy rather than letting yourself flow down the river. You've eddied out a little bit and you're not really doing anything productive when you're telling yourself those stories. So you might want to fight me on that one. The 5th one, don't let your nerves run your brain. We want to manage our nerves. If we feel like, I don't know, and we're almost in a panic shutdown and we don't want to decide because we feel really nervous about making a decision, we just want to see, okay, I need to manage my brain. Change is scary and new. Something unknown is scary and new. What if I did know the answer? What if I did believe this decision was mine to make? What if I did feel confident? I like to say, pretend like you do. Pretend like you do know the answer. Imagine you know the answer. Imagine you're her who knows the answer. And what does she say? The confident version of you that's like, pretend like I got this. And then visit with her. What does she have to say about what she knows about making the decision? This is sort of you pulling apart or pulling away from the discomfort of making the decision, making a little more objective and seeing like, oh, my brain's just having some drama, but what does the higher version of me that's not in drama have to say? Okay, number 6. What if either option is great? If you have a binary choice, yes or no, in or out, leave or stay, what if both options are great? What if neither one is wrong and you're tormenting yourself thinking that there's a better answer? What if both possibilities hold a great outcome? Assume that. Come from that place thinking, what if? And then choose. Say, I'm just going to assume both of these options will have a great outcome. And now what would I choose? It sort of is a secret way of revealing what your real preference is, but you have fear that it might not work out. If you trust that either one is good, then you can loosen things up a little bit. It's not do or die, all or nothing thinking. It's more like, why not? What if? Okay. A lot of times we stay stuck in indecision because we have a fear of failing. We are afraid that we'll make a big mistake. What if there is no fail? What if there is no wrong thing? What if you're always deciding and winning or learning, not winning or losing? What if there is no need to have regret about a decision? Like, let's say you do make a decision and then it turns out not favorable. Instead of beating yourself up, you can reassure yourself, I'm just going to decide again. I'm not going to beat myself and say, what a bad decision I made. I'm going to be like, I'm so proud of myself. I made a big decision. So just see that we are never guaranteed some circumstance. So you can't really make a mistake when you decide because it's always guessing. It's not your fault or your fail if the outcome from your choice isn't exactly as you would have hoped. I'm going to talk a little bit about having your own back in a second. Here's another one that's related. It's the fear of the consequence. Like, you might be fearful of making a big decision because you're thinking, but what if? And this is another thought error. You know how there's these sci-fi movies where they talk about like where they play with time travel and they have like these parallel universes? Those always like blow my brain. And they always have this narrative that like when the protagonist goes back in time, if she changes something, then she might mess up the whole future. She might not end up like meeting her true love and having her baby and having like all these great outcomes if she changes something in the past, right? That's sort of the same thought error that we work with when we think, well, let's say I'm at this choice point and I think if I make this one decision and it turns out this way, if I make this other decision, it turns out that way. But literally follow me, like I'm using my hands when I'm talking. So if you're listening on replay without hands, like imagine the vectors are going to different places, right and left, based on your decision. And if you chose the right one and it didn't turn out the way you wanted, if you went back in time, there's no guarantee that the circumstances would have been the same as if you chose the left one. Does that make sense? It's like this assumption. Thank you for the nod. Like, are you following me? It's like this idea that there's some set circumstances that would march forward, this false sense of security or certainty that isn't true. So if you think if I choose this thing, it doesn't turn out well, maybe I should have chosen this other thing, you're not guaranteed that the same circumstances would have been true for the other thing. It's just a false notion of security. So everything is out of our control. Don't manufacture pain and worry about a potential circumstance that may happen with one decision that you think wouldn't have happened with the other. You're not sure of that. It's a trap. I hope I'm being clear about that one. It's just helping you see that really in this moment, every possible circumstance in the future that you could choose it's a myriad of options, even more mind-blowing than you can consider. So let go of feeling like there could be a wrong consequence. It's a big one. Okay. I actually saw one of my old clients pop on this call. I'm not sure if she's still here. First name starts with an L. If she's still here, she can identify as this is you. Pretend like your name's Linda. So what if the choice is not binary? It's not either or. So like this client, quote unquote, Linda, was presented with a job opportunity at her old position, a new job, or she could keep her old job. And she thought she had this choice point between the new and the old until she realized she could actually bid for a blend of the best of the new and the best of the old and create something new, like a middle option. What if it's not a yes or no question? What if the choice point that you have is actually opening you up to other options that you could choose? I love that one. Okay, we're on to number 10. Sometimes my clients have difficulty making a really hard decision because it's not about them. Like if they're thinking that they need to fire somebody. And so they're really worried about making that decision. They think about, that person's livelihood, their family, making them feel bad. And that's weighing heavily on their ability, my client's ability to make the decision. If you are stuck in indecision because you quote unquote feel bad, this is a cue that you're taking responsibility for somebody else with your decision. Sometimes rightly so. You're like, I'm taking their job away. It could also be, I've got another client, let's call her Becky, who after many, many months, I think 13 months, this team has been working on one solution. It's become apparent that there is another solution that is going to be more fortuitous for the company, and she's going to scrap this entire project that this team has been working on for over a year. She's going to pull the plug, and she knows that that's going to have an effect on that team. So she feels bad that it's going to demoralize them or rip out from underneath them all of their work, and they'll have feelings about it. So this is the challenge when our decision making will affect someone else and it makes us feel bad or feel responsible. How do you handle this one? You objectively look at the situation and think, if knowing what I know now, would I go back and make that previous decision? Would I enlist this team to work on that project knowing what I know now? No, it's not the right way. So I know the right answer is to pull the plug, even though it's going to be painful, even though people will be bummed. Or this individual is not performing to task. Would I hire this person right now for this job that they're in? No, they're not doing it. I want somebody else in that role. So that's my answer. If I wouldn't rehire them right now for that role, then my answer is clear that it is a firing decision. This is assuming that you've already had all the conversations and it's just that you are nervous to actually finally make the decision you know you need to make. You need to sort of counsel yourself about what the right course of action is, even if it's going to disappoint someone else. So you can ask, would I recommit to this? And that will show you the answer. You don't want to let a past decision, like, well, I hired them. I'm the one that promoted them. I'm the one that thought of the first project. You don't want that past decision to inform the current decision if it's not right now. That shows a lot of leadership maturity to be like, you know what? I'm totally making a different decision. It takes a lot of strength and courage. All right. Number 11 is the 10-10-10 rule. I should make this number 10. And this is the idea that big picture. Is this decision that you're trying to make going to be something that will be affecting you in 10 days? Maybe. That's a big deal. In 10 months? Maybe. In 10 years? 10-10-10. If the decision has that much weight, if you feel like it's a 10-year decision, then can you re-decide as things go along? Can you adjust as you go? Get some perspective is basically the 10-10-10 rule. Like, is this really that big a deal? And can you keep deciding if it is? Number 12, ask your future self 10 years from now what she would choose for you. Ask your future wise, best version of you, the more evolved, smarter, wiser version of you, the you that you are becoming. that has so much life experience. Ask her, what would she have you do now? I love that one. What would she advise? Lean into your wise one. Number 13, worst case, best case. Sometimes when we air out decisions with our friends or our network, people will say, well, what's the worst case scenario? What's the worst that could happen? And sometimes they're suggesting like, what if you go for it and it doesn't work out? And they think that's the worst case. But I think the real worst case is when you don't go for it and it could have worked out. I think the real worst case is when we let fear hold us back from the possibility that the best case could happen. Like if you're challenged with a I'm freaking out decision and you're worried that if you choose the scary thing, it would fail. The worst case scenario isn't that it would fail, it's that you didn't give it a chance to be the best possible thing. That's like daring greatly. You following me with that one? All right, another tactic is just feel like it's done. Sometimes if I'm challenged with a decision, I just pick the thing that I think I'm going to choose and I feel it's done. I actually decide it in my body. Okay, let's just pretend I've decided. I'm going to pretend that I've made this decision. I'm going to leave the job. I'm going to move to the city. I'm going to go ahead and adopt the dog. I'm going to move the kids to a new school. Just make that decision. And then I walk around the block like that. I literally take myself for a walk as the woman who made that decision and feel what it's like. Feel my body information. That's the decision. Feel it, walk into it. And how do I wear it? What possibilities are available to me from that vantage point? How am I adopting that into my reality? Doesn't mean that I've committed. It means I'm sort of trying it on and swaggering a little bit to see like, can I go with this? Does this suit me? Number 15, don't survey others. This is where we poll our network. Like, I don't know, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And it's like, okay, we all have a friend that does that, and it's annoying because it's like, oh my gosh, just decide already, right? It's also that thing where you're abdicating your knowing, you're telling your self-conscious, you're telling your limbic system, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. You're infusing indecision and uncertainty and a lack of confidence to yourself by polling everyone else. And you want to ask yourself, are you kind of secretly rooting for everybody to vote for one thing so that then you feel like it's validated? I see some head nods. So here's what you can do instead. If you have choices and you want to air them out with your people, what if you secretly decide first and then ask others to weigh in, knowing what you think you know? You can tell them too. You can say, I'm thinking about making this big move to live overseas. And I'm pretty well decided, but I'd love your opinion. That's not seeking external validation or wisdom for your decision. It's literally gaining a little bit more insight, but you're taking more control and more authority for your own decision. Little different than just polling. Like, I'm taking a straw poll. What do you think? Yes or no? Because here's the thing, side note, it's your decision. Other people have their own reasons that might infect your decision. They might want you closer by. They might be fearful about living abroad. They might not have the same values you do. So asking them what they would have you do is sort of infecting your decision-making process because they're not you. Does that make sense? Kind of need to learn how to trust yourself. We want to develop your own wisdom. Okay, number 16 is don't not decide. This is the worst kind of decision making. When you perseverate so long, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, and that you just don't decide, and the moment passes and the option closes, and you just sort of like default, not decide, and the status quo rolls on, that's actually not clearly deciding. It's just shrugging and abdicating your authority. I love it. Thank you for the head nods. I love it when you're like, I get it, I'm following. So if it's a no, let it be an authoritative no. I know it sounds like a great opportunity. I know everybody's rooting for me to do this thing. It's hard for me to say yes to it. So I'm going to say no. That's better than you like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. And then a year later, somebody's like, hey, whatever happened to that? You're like, oh, yeah, it didn't happen. That's not your power position. All right. The 17th one is don't worry. Don't worry. There's some saying about how worry is just like this ineffective thought loop swirling around a little point of fear. Worry does not solve anything. It doesn't pave the path to ensure that failure won't happen. It doesn't help you. It doesn't protect you. It's an absolute thought error. Present concern for something possibly to happen in the future that hasn't happened yet and may not happen is totally unnecessary. It doesn't prepare you. It actually makes you more afraid. Trust that if the worst happens, you will figure it out in that moment, but you can't predict that it might happen. And predicting that it might happen isn't going to help you be better at handling it. If it does, it just actually just makes things more negative in your life. This is easily said and harder to pull out by the root, but you can notice when you're in worry spells and recenter your energy. All right, that was 17 fat ones. I hope you liked it. You can, if you're really feeling brave, you can write in the chat, which won't be circulated, which of those most resonated for you, or which are you like, I want to do this one, but it's really hard for me. I wish. I will leave you with the end of this training, and I'm going to talk about how you can take it forward. I just love following this author, this woman she's an Australian woman named Bronnie Ware. She's a palliative nurse, which is somebody who helps people with terminal illnesses at the end of their life in hospice. And you might know her name. She wrote a really famous short book that went viral called The 5 Greatest Regrets of the Dying, because she noticed the thematic refrains that came from all of these people that she helped with their last stage of life. And we can take it as like cautionary wisdom, lest we feel that type of regret at the end of our life. And the number one thing, probably know what's coming, wasn't like, I wish I was a better decider. I wish I made quicker decisions. It's not like that. But it was, I'm going to read the quote now. I wish I had the courage to live life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. And so it was this idea that when we realize that we really have been the author of our own experience our whole lives, and that we've rewritten our own story to shapeshift and to please the people around us, that we created our own destiny that included an abdication of our own wisdom. We accommodated other people's desires rather than really following our own. So yes, there's fear and anxiety and making big decisions. Yes, it's nerve-wracking sometimes to be brave and live true to yourself. Yes, it is hard to do things that goes against what others desire for you, but it really is the life well lived when you can confidently decide for yourself the main things for your own life. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed those. Okay, so I see all the gals on the call. I think you're all ready in my network, meaning like one of my lovely, trusted clients or about to be. But if you're listening on replay, I want to say at the end of this 3-day training, now's the time for you to consider, do you want more help and support and training and processes to help guide you have your own back, to help you grow your confidence, to be able to make confident decisions, to not be in lockdown, to not be mistrusting yourself? So this is the part where I talk about the Completely Confident Leadership Program, my small group coaching program that is all about you first knowing yourself, forming really strong positive self-beliefs, trusting yourself so that you can act in concert with yourself, so that you can make solid decisions based on your values, based on what you know of you, and know that it's a solid decision. It feels so much more confident to behave in that way, self-authored, knowing you're leading your life rather than feeling like you're up to the whims of circumstances and that you're just getting by based on your wits and nerves. A big part of what we do inside Completely Confident Leadership is emotional regulation, which is a fancy word for managing yourself. It's for recognizing when drama and defensiveness crops up and figuring out the tools to use to reaffirm our self-belief and our resilience so that we can stand tall even when we're feeling threatened and nervous. It is a comprehensive course where you learn how to be the decisive, confident, self-assured woman that you long to be and that you deserve to be in your life. So I like to say, some people are like completely confident. What the heck? Like, I don't think I'd ever be completely confident. And it's sort of a play on words. It doesn't mean that you're 100% sure. What I mean by complete confidence is that I think there are two halves that make a whole. There's personal mastery of our self-awareness, self-knowledge, self-management, emotional regulation. And then there's how we move through the world in our relationships, managing up and down, having confidence in challenging scenarios. So when you take the self-management and the relationship management, those two halves make a whole. And that's what I mean about being complete. So what I want to share with you are basically the 5 tenets of how we get you from where you are now to where you want to be, how I call you out and call you forth, how I keep you moving when you feel stuck, how I help you argue with your brain's manufactured objections about what's possible and how stuck you might feel, how I help you actually move into being more decisive and more, I just want to say self-authored, which is kind of a coachy coach term, but it means I'm actually clearly writing the book of my own life and I like it. Okay, so what happens when you come and join my program is it's not just a one and done lesson. You've listened to some of my workshops and it makes sense to you, but it takes a little while to have these sift into the gray matter of your brain, into the crevices and take hold for you to really onboard the lessons and integrate them in your behavior. So what we do in Completely Confident Leadership is we work on one small lesson every week and integrate new beliefs and new behaviors as we iteratively become more confident and self-managed. And over time, what I love to see is this subtle shift where suddenly the women in the group start to sit taller, start to feel more composed, start to suddenly feel I'm less nervous. I was actually talking to one of my clients last Thursday, about a week ago, and I asked her, she's done 2 rounds with me now. She did Completely Confident Leadership, then an alumni program. And I asked her what's different for her now than when she first started so that she could really celebrate her successes. And she burst into tears as she said, I just love myself so much more now, which is sort of maybe a surprising outcome that it really is very deep work that we do that helps us handle all of the other things that are external that are bringing us pain when we first start the work. We think we have a bad boss or a challenging circumstance or a big decision to make or that we're lacking confidence. We think that it's external, but it really is inside. And so that I take gals through a process over time, step by step, that helps you move from where you are through belief and awareness and practices and self-management and self-celebration to better beliefs, better habits, better choices. All right, 5 pieces that are in the program. Number 1 is the minute you sign up, you get access to all the lessons immediately forever on demand. And I keep adding to them all the time. But I will steer you towards where I think you should begin and take you step by step. But you are welcome to like binge watch and go directly to find the one lesson that you think you need the most in that moment. It will serve you. And you can also do the work iteratively from A to Z. You get those for a lifetime. You can review them at any time. The second thing is you start joining our small group coaching calls where you get to integrate the lessons and you get the replays of those forever. Because if you miss one, you can listen to it on replay. If you're getting coached and your brain has a burst and you don't know really what just happened, you can watch it on replay. And also, interestingly, sometimes watching somebody else get coached is the most informative growth possible. When you're not having your ego evaluated and you see someone else getting coached on a topic that makes sense to you, it's very eye-opening. It's the second piece, group coaching. The third piece is because stuff happens, I'm still offering what I call Voxer access. Voxer is a little walkie-talkie app that was free in the 90s that I think is just my favorite little secret weapon. All my clients currently have access to me via Voxer, which means they can voice and text message me anytime shit hits the fan. They have a really challenging experience with their boss. They're going into a review. They're about to do a public speech. They have a conflict, or they have a celebration that they want to share. It's those moments that are the ripest to pull content forward and for us to cement in the learning, or for me to give feedback or steering or guidance. I don't think I'm going to offer this forever because as I grow, I'm not going to be able to handle all the voice messages, but I enjoy it. It allows intimacy with me and the client so that I feel like I really know what's going on for her and with her outside of just this group dynamic. So that's a huge bonus right now. Third thing. Fourth thing is we have a private community. It's a lovely Facebook group where you have soul sisters, like-minded sisters who are on a similar path. You can be in this group forever. It's only for my clients. And the fifth and last piece that I want to describe that has a bonus is this really cool leadership assessment that I have found to be so illuminating, that helps every client see for themselves their easy breezy strengths, where they're most effective, and where they're sort of driving with their foot on the brake, where they're holding themselves back, where their limiting beliefs are reacting and holding them back from as effective a leader as they could be in their life. So we kick every new client kicks off with this assessment. And before I get too deep, I just want to say, if you're watching on replay and you want to come, this is what you got to do. You got to come on and get into my calendar via joeleader.com/apply. At the very top of that webpage, you'll see a button that says book a call. Right now, I'm onboarding all my clients through a consult. I want to make sure it's a good fit for you. If it is, I'll invite you in. And if it's not, I'll show you how you can find lots of free resources. It's not a good fit for everybody. But what I want to share with you about the bonuses is, because I'm a one-woman show and because I come live and do these trainings when I'm ready to onboard another cohort, I want to incent gals to get with me on the phone. I want to incent gals to take action. I want to reward the action takers. And so while we are starting officially a new cohort next month, I am offering a bonus that if you get on my calendar, if you find time with me sometime on joeleader.com/apply before the end of this weekend, I'm offering a bonus deep dive one-on-one call to debrief your leadership lesson, your assessment, which is a huge value. It is something that I actually charge my corporate clients over $1,000 to have this assessment and debrief with me. And I am gifting it to gals who get in and get on my calendar before the end of this weekend. And there's another bonus too. The gals that have been with me for a long time are part of an alumni network, and they're in a separate call every week. When you join Completely Confident Leadership, you not only get your regular student call, but you can join the second alumni call for double the learning, double the just to have more support. You get those recordings too, even if you can't join, which just gives you a larger network. Some of the gals have been with me for like 3 years, and we're such a sociable, loving bunch. It's a lovely place to be a part of. Okay, so now's the time to talk about money. If you're wondering, can I afford this? Is this something that I want to invest in? The value is not the money you spend, it's the result you get. So if you have the desire to take the step forward and you're feeling like you would love help to stop being stuck, to get moving, to have better shifts, open up possibility, resolve painful interactions, get a job, keep your job, get a better job with clarity, all of these things are the stuff that we work on. The investment is $3,000 for the 5-month program, and I do have a payment plan if you want to break it up. But I want to see if gals can find it suitable to invest it themselves, perhaps the first time since college, to unlock and unblock themselves. I've thrown some money around, but the workshops that I provide inside our Completely Confident membership group, I offer just one of those when I facilitate to a corporate group for $5,000 for 1 hour, because they are remarkably valuable and people get a lot of value out of them. But my entire program is less than that because I am providing it to my community in a group format. So I think the value is massive. The question is it something that you think that you want? And are you ready to step forward and invest in yourself? So that's what I have for you. I'll give you my link one more time. It's joleader.com/apply. I love meeting gals in real life. My great joy is connection in leadership. So I encourage you to get on my calendar. And I will be sending this recording to those of you who could not attend live. And this comes with so much love. Mwah! Bye for now.